Cool. Hey, it's Willa, and I'm here with...
Paul's here.
And Abraham.
Yeah. And we've got two guests. We've got returning guests.
Steve, if you remember me.
What was your episode?
I was on Steveless in Seattle.
You may remember
We were watching
him.
Sleepless in Seattle.
And our good friend Scott is here. Hey, Scott.
Welcome, Scott.
Hey guys, it's good to be here.
So
for
glad to
being
have
here.
you
Thanks
finally.
for coming over on this windy freaking day.
I know,
We're
it's
getting a
about
lot
time.
of wind advisories today. So we're kind of all just sitting here waiting for the power to go out, but I guess
Yeah.
we'll see. So,
It reminded me, like,
yeah.
We wouldn't be able to launch a rocket in this weather. No.
Got delayed a lot.
We'd have to, like, move
Have to
the
look for
launch
another
day.
window.
Yeah.
Wow, that really reminds me of Apollo 13. You've seen
That's
that,
a
right?
great movie.
You've seen
That's a
that,
great
right?
movie. Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of my
That's
favorites,
crazy.
actually.
Yeah.
How about you, Abraham?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Ron Howard. Tom Hanks. Like
Bill Paxton.
Oh, God rest his soul.
Clint Howard.
Clint Howard
Scotty.
in a dramatic
Right?
turn.
You know what we're talking about, right? You've seen it.
Surprisingly, no.
Scotty. What?
Yeah.
Apollo 13.
Yeah,
is wrong with
I'm
you?
definitely in the
Are you a
minority.
communist?
Were you alive in 1995?
Do you even love America?
I was 10 in 1995, but no, that was one that
Wow.
I just
All right. Well,
Never put on my
intervention
list.
time, guys.
Intervention,
Intervention.
Intervention. Cool. That was really made me laugh.
Best ever.
Okay. Welcome to Pop Culture Intervention. This is the podcast where we intervene a movie virgin on a very popular must-see movie. And this week we have our friend Scotty. He just saw Apollo 13.
Whoa. Nice.
Houston, we have a problem.
And this week Charlie is out. Actually, he has the measles, so he's
Yeah.
not able to join us. So
Just
filling
like,
in,
Ken Mattingly, yeah.
we have Mr. Steve here,
Yep.
filling in for Charlie. Thanks for
Nice to be here. Thanks for
coming
having
at the
me.
last minute. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
He's our Kevin Bacon.
It's my pleasure.
He's our Tom Hanks expert.
Remember, Kevin Bacon
Returning
has the clap,
after,
so-
Yes.
After Sleepless in Seattle, I think, fast forwarding just a couple years in Hanks' career, and Steve's going to help us out.
Steve, is he your favorite actor?
He's not my favorite actor, but, he's up there.
He's up there.
Yeah. I'll pretty much watch whatever he does.
Sure. Who was it just telling us that they don't like Tom Hanks? Katie?
What?
Someone was telling us they really don't like him.
They clearly don't have a soul.
Email us if this is,
I forget who it was.
if you're a
talking
listener.
about you.
Weird.
So, Scotty,
First impressions.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It exceeded my expectations.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's what I like to hear.
I already want to watch it again because I enjoyed it so much.
awesome.
Nice.
So good.
Nice.
What did you
And-
know about it
yeah.
going into it?
I knew a couple of cast members, and obviously, like, the premise of the story.
Yeah.
This is what we
Just
like to
because
call a
of history.
historical spoiler.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that everyone knows the ending, but still have to watch to see how it plays out.
Yeah, but so I knew very little, but I'm gonna read up more about it now because I want to see the historical
true,
accuracies and all that. But no, yeah, it gave me goosebumps, definitely.
Yeah,
Nice.
in the beginning, it covers a little bit of what happens, with the other Apollo missions. Besides, obviously, everybody knows 11 is the one that landed on the moon. But obviously, Jim Lovell had been there before. Was it Apollo 8?
8,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
was
he flew
a member of.
a few orbits around the moon, but never actually got to land on the moon.
10 laps.
Yeah. So really, it's kind of a narrow focus on what was a really amazing time in space travel and just American ingenuity in a way. It was kind of our peak.
Yeah, and the story is taken from Jim Lovell's personal account. He wrote a book about the whole thing, and Ron Howard took that and adapted it into a screenplay with some other writers. And we got a pretty accurate depiction of a really crazy thing that happened in space.
Man, don't go to space, everyone.
Space is so
Keep
scary.
trying to tell everybody
Jeez.
not to go to space.
There's so many numbers.
It's not just because of
You
aliens.
get one little number wrong, and the space shuttle blows
Scott,
up.
would you go to space?
Oh, I've been asked this so many times. but who hasn't, really? I think I wouldn't be able to. I know it'd be like one of those life-altering things, but I just don't think I could be in close quarters for that long period of time.
Yeah, and all the things that can go wrong. I mean, I guess
Ugh.
this kind of goes without saying because then you wouldn't have a plot. But like, I've never seen a space movie where things go right.
Yeah. I was definitely thinking the same thing because this makes you think of The Martian or
Oh, yeah,
Gravity,
yeah.
you know, because some more recent movies where it's like really dire circumstances that are fictional. I mean, this is the real life template for
The
those.
Martian's not based on a true story?
It's based on a story that really will happen in the future.
It's a,
That's basically the
future.
same thing. Yeah, it's like a documentary.
future
Just
documentary.
seeing all the bolts fly off into space, that just was like, oh god, no, you need those.
Yeah,
That seems really important.
I would never be able to sleep. I would just be
I know.
sitting there all night just waiting for something bad to happen.
Between aliens and that was me, sorry. Between alien encounters and just shit going wrong in space. I mean, is there a movie that exists that they're in space and
where nothing goes wrong.
well, like the only
The First Man. That just came out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, every space mission has its problems. I did see
So they
that.
say
I guess
every
the
mission's got a
tension
glitch.
it would have to be set in space, but the tension would have to be completely
Oh, yeah.
like man versus
There are
man
some harrowing scenes in that movie.
instead of like man versus alien or man versus nature.
Well, yeah. And of course, in this movie, the one thing that was going to go wrong went wrong right away. And
yeah, it happened so fast.
their one engine didn't fire, so they're just like, oh, we'll burn the other ones a little longer. And Tom Hanks, Jim Lovell says, oh, good, the one
Our got
technical
our glitch.
glitch.
Yeah, there's our glitch for the trip,
it's
gentlemen.
come and gone for the trip.
We're all good. Oh, what's that?
Actually, that was one of the things that stood out to me watching this time around. Were just the number of bad omens leading up to the event before they're even in space or even really at
So many bad
at
omens.
the space
Yeah.
station. Like, just like the little things like his car stalling at the red light. Oh,
Yeah.
that keeps happening. Then the wedding ring down the drain. That's not good.
Yeah, that never
And then
really
just
comes
the
back.
fact that measles comes into the play. And
Yeah. I think before we go too much farther, we should see if Scotty here was paying attention.
Yeah.
Alright,
He
we're
was
gonna-
taking extensive notes, so I think he's going to do pretty good. And I guess it's time for retention intervention. Retention intervention. Retention intervention.
all right, I'll start. I have one, and then we'll just kind of go around the table. Does that sound all right?
I have 2 questions.
All right. Why can't Al Shepard go on Apollo 13?
B.
He's not Gary Sinise's character.
I don't think we meet Al Shepard. But he's the one that gets bumped so that Tom Hanks and crew can go.
Yeah.
Because he has the measles. No? What?
That was Gary Sinise's character.
Yeah, early on, there's a whole
I-
crew that's about to take this mission, and they're bumped for the secondary crew, which is actually our protagonists in the story, is Tom Hanks and Gary Sinise.
Do you want
Bill Paxton.
multiple choice?
Yeah, do multiple choice then.
Okay.
Just 'cause I thought he was
Hold
the
on, let me
original
think
person.
of a couple.
That's fine, we can cut her together.
I have a question if we want to.
Okay, no, I got it.
Okay.
He can edit that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Al Shepard can't go on Apollo 13 because of A, measles, B, bronchitis, C, cancer, or D, ear infection.
Was it ear infection?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
that's right.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
he
say
says it
his
flares
ear
up, right?
infection flares up.
So it must be a pre-existing condition.
The true story behind that wasn't an ear infection. It was something wrong with his back, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why? Why did they fake that? Why did they change that fact?
I don't know.
Probably to make it sound like, even weirder.
Yeah.
Back would make sense. Ear infection's just like,
Like
okay.
ear infection? That's all it takes.
Well, I know I'm interrupting the quiz, but I'm curious about
We only got one question.
I'm curious about the measles. First of all, was it ever true that somebody was infected with the measles? Because Gary Sinise insists that he never had them, never was going to get them, and that the blood work was wrong, and that I don't know if he suspected that they were trying to force him out for some other reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
He
but in
did
a lot of ways,
shoot the doctor a dirty look when he came
Well-
back without the measles.
but in a lot of ways, thank God he was on Earth. He was the one
Yeah.
that figured all that out. Like,
Yeah,
what
he
would
does
they have
become
done
the-
without him?
And they
Very
also
much
let
the
him-
hero.
And they also
Yeah.
let him do a whole lot after all that. Like, he got to fly another Apollo mission and flew the space shuttle.
He was infecting everybody with measles.
Didn't,
But okay, my other question was: does Bill Paxton have the measles? Is it in any way related to the idea?
What are the
that
symptoms
crew-
of the measles? I
I
have no
think he
idea.
just had a cold. Like, real
I don't know. The fact that he was like
Or pneumonia,
painful peeing.
Uh,
I thought maybe he had like a bladder infection and a fever.
You're close.
If he
It's
had
actually a urinary tract infection,
Yeah,
and it
if he
is
was
from
throwing
peeing
up
in those bags.
and had a
Yes.
fever. Ah, that makes total sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, he mentioned
Yeah.
that Swaggart was pissing in his hose, so got the clap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's not true.
I'm glad we got to that. That's what I was hoping to draw out.
Scotty,
Okay.
you look pensive.
well, no, I remember during the movie, Tom Hanks had talked about a time where luckily the lights had went out and he was able to see the algae. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if, in his mind, this situation with Mattingly was kind of like that trigger, like, you know, we kind of need this to happen just in case.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
No, yeah, they I think one of the major themes is like coincidence and just it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how long is it supposed to take to get to the moon?
You stole my question.
4 days.
Correct.
Correct.
And how long do they end up being in space?
10 days?
I didn't actually write it down. I think it's 7.
It's 7.
Yep. Where did Jim and Marilyn live?
I know it's... I'm going to say Houston?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
Makes sense.
I just thought I'd try to trick you on that one. Anyone else got a question?
I do have a question.
Go ahead, Steve.
Now, we were talking about omens earlier. This is one of the omens that came up. Do you remember when they were in the press conference and the reporter was like, this is when you're taking off? Do you remember when they were taking off from that moment?
The date?
Like, how much time from that moment they were going to take off
Oh, right.
and enter the moon's gravity as well?
Was it 2 days?
No. It was 1,300 hours, 13 minutes, and entering the moon's gravity on April 13th.
Whoa.
I was going to say, I don't know if
Yeah.
I can do multiple choice with that.
My question
I'm glad you
pertains
worked
to
it
that. I think that's same or one of the press conferences, and they're talking about all the bad luck. It was right after that, and Ken was talking about, oh, we took care of that. We had a black cat walk over a broken mirror under the ladder to the LEM, and everything's all right. And then Fredo says, yeah, we even had a suggestion to bring what type of animal with us
Oh, right.
in the shuttle.
Oh, man. I'm going to take multiple choice.
All right. Was it a cat? Was it a dog? Was it a chicken? Was it a pig?
It was a pig.
Yep.
That's right. Now you say
Oh my
it.
god, imagine a cat in spacesuit claw. So many holes in your spacesuit. It'd be
Yeah.
awful.
It's too much hair. It'll get
Yeah,
all
it would be
in
everywhere.
the instruments.
Who is the president during this film?
Oh, man. I want to say it was Nixon.
Correct.
Correct.
Very good, Paul.
I am not a crook.
Any other questions? I have one more.
I don't. I'm out of questions. That was my...
I am also out of questions.
There was a luggage commercial featured on television.
Oh.
Do you remember it?
I don't.
Okay,
I'm
there was a
bad for
gorilla destroying a piece of luggage. What was the company? And maybe you guys can chime in.
Yeah, I know this
I
one.
remember the slogan.
That was a real commercial, too.
Yeah, it's a great commercial.
They talk
Oh,
about
right.
it in Mad Men.
All right, well, Steve, give me the slogan, and then maybe Paul can follow up.
I just remember Savage Baggage Masters. That's all I remember.
Terrible.
Savage Baggage Masters.
Samsonite, right?
Samsonite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have that whole episode of Mad Men where they make the Samsonite commercial.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
Like
All right,
it.
this is my last question. What is the name of the lem?
Oh,
Capricorn, Sagittarius, Aquarius, or Virgo?
That was Aquarius.
Very good. Ding, ding,
This
ding.
is the dawning.
of the age of Aquarius.
How did Scotty do on our quiz? He did pretty well.
I think he
Really
did pretty
well,
good.
yeah.
Hey, good job, Scotty.
Impressed.
I think he passed flight school.
You retained and you're in your veins.
You are Top Gun.
Put a lot of pressure there. Put a lot of pressure.
He handled it well.
You have
Handled
the
it
right
well.
stuff.
You have the right stuff. They're gonna shoot
Actually-
you into space now.
Have a question kind of more about the plot of the movie, which I didn't really catch. Obviously, the other Apollo mission has already landed on the moon. So what really is the main mission of Apollo 13? And this is just a question. I don't know.
Rocks.
Get rocked.
Yeah, I don't think they really had any other like.
They said a couple
know.
100 pounds of moon rocks.
Yeah.
Does that
Makes
mean
sense as the
Neil
primary
Armstrong didn't
mission.
bring any moon rocks back?
They did.
Different
I don't know
location,
if they.
though.
I don't know if they brought hundreds of pounds during
Right.
the Apollo 11 mission. We'd have to check that.
No.
They were landing.
We
in
won't
a-
because that would be my job.
I'm pretty sure they were only on the surface, like the first one, for like 6 hours or something like that. They weren't there for very long.
So they were just going to go walk on it again.
collect some
No,
samples.
all right.
And there's a lot of other, failed attempts to reach the surface. So
Do you guys believe that the number 13 is unlucky?
no.
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 It's the number of Dan Marino. Best quarterback that ever lived.
How many Super Bowls did he win?
Doesn't matter. He's still the best. Doesn't matter.
So, because there are like hotels and stuff that won't put a 13th floor.
Floor,
They'll
yeah.
just go from 12 to 14. Do you think that's silly?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very silly.
It's pretty silly.
But it did seem like a lot of weird coincidental things were happening on this mission. It's like, oh boy.
Well, obviously they have to play it up for the movie.
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
I liked it even when he went to Ed Harris went to use the projector and it.
Even that
Wigged out.
fried out on him.
Yeah, that's great. And that he lets the projector screen go up and has the blackboard behind him.
Yeah,
And
he said,
he uses
let's go
the
back
chalk.
to basics.
Yeah, and he uses it in scenes further on. After that, he's still using the chalkboard. So I don't know. I think there is something to that. Like, all right, when the
Technology
higher
fails.
technology fails, use the engineering, the simple engineering of duct
Yeah,
tape
just
and
use what
plastic
you got.
bags, and like
Exactly.
one of the best parts of the movie is them, putting this square filter in this round filter hole
Right.
using all these like plastic and duct tape and
A tube sock.
all these simple parts to figure the problem out.
Hey, did you guys ever have to do that, like field trip where you go to like the space place
Oh,
and you have to
yeah.
learn to
That
do
was
different
fun.
things? Did you ever do anything like that, Scotty?
No.
I wish. I have been to the Air and Space Museum in Washington,
remember.
D.C., which is awesome.
I have been there.
That was probably a lot
Yeah.
more legit than my school
that's
trip.
great.
Well, one of the things I remember about it is that leading up to the trip, we all had to try to write out the directions to tie a shoe.
I've
Because-
had to do projects like that where,
So
yeah.
yeah, it was,
I did the one
It was
you're,
wicked
you're
hard,
talking about that's like a simulator of sorts.
right?
Yeah.
Where everyone has their different job. So anyway,
That sounds awesome. I would have loved that as a
Fantastic.
kid.
Too.
Always stuck out to me of like, yeah, how the heck do you try to how do they explain how to build that
That
weird
yeah,
contraption?
I know. They had instructions detailed, and I was thinking about
That's
that too.
someone's
It's
job.
like, yeah,
Someone
someone's
has to be
job
really
was
good
to,
at
one,
that.
keep track of everything they use and how they are implementing it in the same order. Like, wow. That's a lot writing on someone, too, to make sure they get every part of that right, because they're like, what the hell? This doesn't make sense. And then the space shuttle blows up.
Yeah.
Doing it in such a short time span.
Yeah, on a time crunch, a serious
And
time
if you
crunch.
screw it up, everyone dies.
Yeah, no pressure.
What was
Hope this tube sock is
Yeah.
of good quality.
That tube spot was very clean, considering how
was.
much you'd been sweating.
This
Well, it was very cold.
That's true.
it was getting very cold.
So he needs
This
the
movie
sock.
came out right at a time, I think, for a lot of us that we were probably trying to decide what we were going to do when we grow up.
I was like
And-
9.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was about
9 or
10
10.
years.
I wanted to
old.
be an elephant when I grew up.
But they
so,
were,
disappointment.
I was kind of. I was one of those kids that was in like a STEM kind of track where they were like, oh, you're good at math or you're good at science or whatever. Mm-hmm. So they did, I think, try and push kids towards that field or those fields. And this, probably I learned most of what I knew about the space program from this movie because it came out at the right time where I was interested. Mm-hmm. So the first time I would see like the first stage rocket detached from the shuttle, like the simple procedures of the practical space program was like amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like they really got us into the weeds, like the technical weeds of it all. Like most of what they were saying went over my head, when they're talking to each other, but it just lends an idea of what it takes to pull off something like that. And it takes so many people talking about very precise things in a certain amount of time, communicating it to someone who's in outer space. It's like mind-boggling that that's even a possibility.
Did you find the jargon and stuff distracting, Scotty?
No, that was actually some of the reason why I enjoyed it the most, because I really enjoy when movies get more scientific.
Yeah, they didn't dumb it down.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, they probably did, but
yeah.
And nobody had to say, we're going to science the shit out of this one. We're really going to get out of this. It didn't have to have the cheeky attitude that Matt Damon has in The Martian to be like an entertaining movie. It's just like these guys are taking shit very seriously. The stakes are very high. And we're just going to basically
nerd power,
see exactly how they did it. And it's the most interesting movie that could have been made at that time, I think. For Ron Howard, it's probably his best movie.
It's his favorite movie, by the way, that he's made. Apparently.
Discovery Houston, negative return. Copy, negative return.
We lost communication. Sorry. We were on the dark side of the moon there for a little
I was
bit.
trying to see how long that would go.
We were trying to go 3 minutes.
Scotty, what'd you think of just the overall performances and who stood out to you?
Tom Hanks, first off, does no wrong. I've loved everything he's done. Some of my favorite movies are actually his Catch Me If You Can. I feel.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I
that
love
movie's
it.
amazing.
Love it.
But I feel like they all did a great job. Bill Paxton's another one of those guys who he kills in every role.
Yeah.
Like he really gets himself into
Underrated.
that character.
R.I.P. Underrated.
Yeah, R.I.P.
It was a bummer when he got sick because he had some like pretty funny quips.
Yeah.
When he was still feeling himself and like everything was going fine.
He was the one having the most fun.
Yeah.
Up until shit
And
started going
I
wrong.
noticed that he was very serious when they were on Earth.
Yeah, he was.
And he kind of cut loose once he was up in space.
Yeah,
it
I
was
feel
like
like
they
that
can't
was
they can't come get me now.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, aha!
Personality.
Joke's on you,
And
I
then-
mate to space, motherfuckers!
He even had a borderline like Aliens moment where he turned into Hudson, where he was shit started going crazy, and he was like, "It's our only chance, man!" And I'm
Yeah, him and
game over, man.
and
He's
Jack
getting
started
desperate.
going at each other, passing blame.
Yeah.
But Kevin Bacon too. Oh man,
Yeah.
he's a stud in this.
Pretty foxy.
He's a badass.
Do we like him? He was kind of like, for a while there, it's like, do we like this guy?
He got real humble as soon as he needed help from Gary Sinise back on Earth to talk him through something.
Yeah, he was real cocky. Like,
I love that scene where Gary's talking him through, and like the panels are all wet, and he's just like, I literally can't read my writing. I'm
Yeah.
so fucked up up here. Like that scene is
And-
super tense, and it's just so. I mean, can you imagine after like just being awake basically for 4 days, and then just being like,
not only that,
Hey,
but they're
man.
also breathing in CO2 at an unhealthy rate.
They had fixed it by that point.
Had they?
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
happening.
that was when they're starting to go back to Earth.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But the note he puts on the button to release the
Lem?
lem,
Lem, yeah.
it says no, don't release the lem with them in it, basically, because he's like, I was getting
He's so
punchy,
out of it,
man.
he didn't want to, like,
I've not
accidentally
Like, here's the worst thing I
click.
could do.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, imagine.
I felt
Yeah.
too that once we find out that Gary Sinise can't go, in the scenes where Bill Paxton and Tom Hanks were interacting with Kevin Bacon in the beginning, like you could just feel the tension. Like we really wish that it wasn't you up here with us.
Right.
Yeah, they're starting from scratch on a lot of the communication.
Yeah,
Yes.
you could really tell it was like, oh, this is happening, and I have the new guy on my team. You
Well,
know?
right, and they can't help but just feel like he somehow caused this issue because he's the one that presses the button. But obviously,
Yeah, I
it's not
know.
his fault at all.
It isn't his fault at all. It was, like you said.
I mean,
at
they
the
don't
end,
say
it was
it's his fault.
something
but
that happened 2
kind of
years
like-
before Jim Lovell was even part of the thing.
Yeah, we get the explanation in the basically.
I always
the
wonder how they
credits.
can figure that kind of thing out.
Well, they did that for the last shuttle tragedy.
Well,
And
I
it
know-
was a bad piece of wing or something
Yeah.
like that. Bad piece
Well,
of
you know
insulation.
the part where they're like looking at it outside the window. They
Right.
like filmed it too, and that's
Oh.
how NASA would use that to analyze like where stuff went wrong and all that thing. So I don't know
NASA.
how they figure it out, but they're NASA. They're nerds. They can figure it out.
That's what it stands. That's what the N in NASA stands
Yep.
for.
Mm-hmm.
Nerds.
Nerds
as-
and
Nerds.
space.
And Space America.
Nerds and space America.
I'll take it.
I like
they
it.
they give Kevin Bacon kind of the final acceptance or the final catharsis or whatever you want to say when Tom Hanks takes his seat right at the end when they're getting ready to
Make
re-enter
the-
the
yeah.
atmosphere basically. And he's like, "Oh, I'm used to taking the pilot seat because obviously that's where he was in the last mission." Mm-hmm. And for a moment, you're not sure whether he's going to give
Exactly,
it up. You're like, "Is he
yeah.
gonna?" He's saying, It's a habit. I'm going to take the pilot seat."
Then you're not sure. You're like, is
Then
he
he
going to
gives
keep
it
it?
up.
Yeah, but no. He's like, the control is yours.
It's great. It's a great
shows how he-
dynamic between just like a few people.
It's all pretty subtle too. Like,
Yeah.
it's not- I like it.
Oh my God, when Tom Hanks has to hug Bill Paxton,
To keep
Bill
warm.
Paxton Fredo,
Oh, to keep
when he
it warm.
literally has to bring his body temperature up. That's so touching.
Yeah, they bring it in for the real thing.
That was a good rub down. Mm-hmm. I was getting jealous.
Are you the one that was like, "I want a hug like that" from Tom?
Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Oh, really? From anyone?
Could have been any one of us that said those words, though. We're all thinking the same thing.
Now I know we're talking about great performances. I feel like we're missing one. Ed Harris.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Ed Harris got nominated for.
He was, I mean, for me, I'm like, I remember you telling me that he was, like, I didn't know that before I watched it, that he was nominated, and then I rewatched it today, and I really watched his part,
really
and
good.
just, like, the subtleness of his part, and how he kept the whole crew together, or the mission control together, and make sure that they're focused and staying on task, and doesn't want estimates, he wants it now, and all that stuff, and it
And
was
that
great.
last scene where he's just holding it back and like you can just see his face getting red and his eyes swelling up.
Oh, yeah, he was
Yeah.
crying. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
very realistic.
the guy
His
that.
hair is like blonde or like red. He's not a white-haired
And
man.
covering
Yeah.
all of his
Mo-
head.
Well, still kind of balding, but that's fine.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
the man he was portraying watched it and like lost it when he saw that scene, like in the end, you know, when he's relieved because it brought him back to that moment.
Yeah.
You know, he really captured it.
They give him a great introduction because they bring him a jacket, I think,
A vest.
or the vest.
the white vest.
Yeah.
And there's this shot where they deliver it to him. They show him open the package. They don't show his face. Like they withhold his face for just long enough. I think it's only like 30 seconds, but just long enough for you to be like, "Oh, this guy's important." Mm-hmm. I think another reason maybe they did that is because he had played John Glenn in The Right Stuff. Just what is that?
That's true.
Less than 10 years before this.
Yeah.
So he's
right around.
kind of maybe the center of attention as far as like.
Sure. So it's kind of like a reveal.
Yeah, I think so in a way, and I think this is a spiritual sequel to The Right Stuff, even though, you know, it's
And there's another
Producers.
space movie connection with Ed Harris. He played the voice of Mission Control in Gravity, which is a kind of a similar movie to this about rescuing someone from space.
I will say it was really hard to keep track of all the characters. If there's, I mean, obviously has a lot to do with the setting, but if there's a pretty major flaw to this movie, it's just like, it's an entire cast of just like
White
100
dudes.
white men.
Yeah. A
Not
couple
even
of
any, like-
women.
there's a few women, but only like 3 of them even have speaking parts.
So,
Does not pass the Bechdel test.
but think about it this
No.
way: they're all outside of that mission control room, though. It's all white dudes inside.
No,
that.
they're the ones in charge.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. It's all white.
And not even like a little bit of brown or a little Asian. No, just straight Caucasian dudes. So I would say, like, if I were watching it totally fresh today, that might have made me a little disinterested. But because, this movie, I think it was one of the first ones that really got me excited about space and just because of what you said about it being like practical space things, not like Star Wars and
Yeah, not
totally
romanticized.
science fiction, but it's like pretty intense.
You mentioned we've been watching Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He, on a recent episode I saw, said when he was a kid, being an astronaut seemed off limits to him because of his race.
Oh wow!
I
Yeah,
don't
sure.
think that's.
That makes sense.
I think
does
it's
make sense.
definitely a point to highlight. Like there really were barriers
Yeah.
in 1970. Is it when this took place?
Yeah. And the space program, mainly formed in the 60s when,
I'm
racial
sure the door.
tensions in the U.S. were very high.
It would be a different story now, except for that the space program is not sending
yeah.
people into space right now.
We're just not using our own
Yeah.
rockets.
Well, this year that should change, or so they say.
Well, our friend Jordan works at SpaceX, and
SpaceX,
every
yeah.
time I talk to him, I'm like, Jordan, don't go to space, because I really don't want him to die in space. That would really...
Send a black person instead.
Whoa.
That's not what I was trying to say.
Edit.
That might be an edit.
That's not what I was trying to say at all.
Keep it.
I'd recommend editing that out.
I'd go.
Yeah, I would
If
like
given
to
the
go back to this
opportunity,
question.
I'd go.
I would go right now.
Yeah.
Like
You
I'm
would?
not.
If I got a
even
call
joking.
that says, "Hey, there's a space flight leaving tomorrow. You want to be on it?" Yes.
My mom and my girlfriend would be pissed, but I would call them from space and be like, "Hey guys, I'm taking a little vacation."
I guess
Yeah,
it depends.
I'd
Like,
go.
going to the moon or, like, anything that requires, like, several days of space travel, like, I just feel like you're in for some trouble.
I feel like if that's how I go,
Space.
I can't beat that.
Right.
Like, I'd rather go that way than, getting a disease.
Though I
or
do
a
feel more
car
comfortable with,
accident.
like, when you see, like, sci-fi movies where, like, it's an entire ship with, like, many wings versus getting into basically a
tiny.
tin
They
can.
said it's about the size of a couple of. That would have been
Phone
a good trivia
booths?
question.
Yeah.
A couple phone booths.
phone booths. Yeah.
Like, that's a big difference, too. Like, I don't think I would go on a moon
I do get
mission.
claustrophobic.
But if
yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
like, basically a space cruise, like, yeah, fuck
I
yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
I would be overwhelmed with excitement that it wouldn't matter. I'd be like, we're in space.
I think they're a little roomier now.
Probably.
Is there a movie like that where they basically send Ernest to space? Not that you guys are...
Yeah, Ernest goes to space.
Is that one? I've never seen it.
Probably is.
We just made it up simultaneously.
Ernest did a little bit.
Sounds
of
right.
everything. Yeah.
But is there a movie like that where they send, like, an average Joe to space?
What's the one with
Armageddon.
Rocket Man?
Zathura.
Do you guys
I
remember
haven't seen
Rocket
it.
Man?
I haven't seen it, but I hear it's really funny.
It's with
Harlan Williams.
Harlan
Williams.
Yeah.
It's like the scary movie of
That's funny.
going to Mars.
I'm gonna have to put that on my list to watch.
It's pretty good.
Abe, did you answer the question? Would you go to space?
Oh.
Would you go on the moon mission?
I would be one of those, I think, on the frontier. Because at a certain point, part of it is you just have to be willing to do it and, like, confident in your ability to do it. And I feel like that I have those qualities.
Blind confidence, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the people in
Giant
this
ego?
room
Yes,
or, like,
check.
the people...
Would we be able to?
When you start drawing from a larger sample size, I'm not, like, I don't have the right stuff. But if you're talking about, like, the average guy,
Average guy?
it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've got it.
You probably got more than the average
I got
guy.
more of the right
stuff than the average guy.
Abe is obsessed with astrophysics. Like, he will watch every space-related thing possible.
I do
He
think
loves
about
it.
it a lot. I think that's
I think
part
if you
of
were to
what you need.
restart a career,
Seriously, if I were
he would be
any
great.
good at math, that's what I would have gone into like physics or something like that.
don't like
Mm-hmm.
math.
I hate math.
Didn't
Can't
like
stand it.
calculus.
We were talking
I
about
never
race
took calculus.
and how that's involved. I never saw it, but the movie Hidden Figures was about a team of African American women who actually did a lot of the calculations for the moon landing.
Right, so why can't they show those people
I know.
in
So
this
there must
film?
have been also a
mean-
similar team on the Apollo 13 mission. It's
One
only
of them
2
should have
missions
been
later.
in the room when they needed to check the calculations for their trajectory.
Exactly.
Because
Oh, Ron Howard, come on.
a bunch of white guys tried to do it, and
Yeah.
They couldn't figure it out.
well, they did. They were right, but Kevin Bacon or his character
Jack.
Jack
Jack
really
Swaggart.
was really concerned that they had done the calculations wrong, and that's why they hadn't given them a landing protocol.
Yeah. And
And he
then
was right.
Tom
Am I-
Hanks, Jim gives him the readings. You know, it's like, okay, he's doing the math real fast in his head, and like, and then they have to run it by all their math guys. It's good, it's good, it's good. But where were the hidden figures,
Yeah,
ladies?
where was
They were
Taraji P.
hidden.
Henson?
They
Yeah,
had to make a movie about it.
I hope that's the right person.
we'll edit it if it's not.
But I guess I understand correctly that there wasn't a miscalculation, right? It was just
That they were just coming.
they just didn't have their shit
They
together. And
kept-
that's why they hadn't given him a
Yeah,
protocol for the landing. But he was freaking out because
he thought they were just
they
screwed.
hadn't said anything. Like,
That they
he
were,
assumed
like-
that they had made a mistake.
He even said, "Yeah, do you think they're gonna tell us if we're gonna
Yeah.
die?" Which makes sense. It's like, yeah, they wouldn't do that.
They were a little shy.
Oh, sorry guys, you guys are fucked.
Do you think if we left our friend on Mars to die, that they would tell us we had done that? No.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's also
The Martian. Yeah.
Ridley Scott. I don't think Ridley Scott can make The Martian if Ron Howard didn't make Apollo 13.
Or Gravity, I think.
I don't think tonally that those movies fit those directors. I think you're right with Gravity too, to an extent, because Cuarón is so. I mean, his focus is on the visual elements, and kind of
Which was great in Gravity.
yeah. But I think everything else is just lifted directly from this
Basically is.
kind of lifted from this story, or Armageddon.
Yeah, NASA space mission that goes wrong and
Yeah.
needs rescue.
Well, you say that, and I watched The First Man recently, and there are parts of that movie where I thought that they may have actually even taken the shot directly from Apollo 13.
Okay, that's interesting because some of the footage they used of the launch was actually the Apollo 11 launch.
Well, no, I know that, but like the parts with the CGI and stuff like
Oh, really?
and the part where they have the different things breaking away from the ship and things like that.
Looked a lot like
looked
Apollo 13?
Very similar. I'd love to put them side by side.
If you saw them side by side, I think
Look
you
like.
could tell that they're
It's pretty lazy
20.
filmmaking.
Well, it also
Almost
it could be-
25
I mean,
years
it might
apart
be lazy,
in
but it also
technology.
might be like homage. to-
Yeah, right.
but
Or
not-
just accurate. That's what it would
Yeah.
look like. So
Yeah.
it looks exactly the same in both.
Same. Yeah.
Apparently, though, even for 1995 standards, the CGI held up because Jim Lovell watched it and was like, he thought they had found some like footage that he didn't know about. Like they had other camera footage of some of those things because he's like, that can't be fake. Like he was so convinced that he thought they had unearthed some like secret footage.
cool.
Oh, and thanks, Paul, for pointing out the real Jim Lovell in the film, which I'd never known.
That's right. Another Easter egg at the very end when they return and they get on the ship, the USS Iwo Jima. The man that greets Jim Lovell, the character Jim Lovell, is the real Jim Lovell.
Yeah, and they shake hands they really show him for a good 12 seconds.
Yeah, and obviously that's for a reason. And they wanted him to pose as the admiral of the ship, but he refused. He only would put on his captain's hat because he retired as a captain, and he said, "A captain,
Not gonna
I will
break
be."
rank.
Yep.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that though, with the CG and stuff. I was impressed.
It does hold up. It definitely
Yeah,
holds
it
up.
didn't distract me at all.
None of it looked like cartoonish or like, even today some of the stuff can look a little just fake. But this, believable.
Hey, how do they film in zero gravity? Or how do they... Is that a dumb question?
No, that's a
Yeah.
very interesting question.
Oh yeah.
Harnesses?
I have an answer for that
I
question.
also have an answer for that question.
Yeah, there's a special plane.
Who wants to mansplain it to me first? I did ask.
It's a race.
I did ask, though.
I'm bowing out.
Yeah.
There's a special plane used for these type of things. It has a name, but I don't know what it's called.
The Vomit Comet.
The Vomit Comet.
Ew.
That's it. Yeah, and it's designed to
not the
create
official.
about 20 to 25 seconds of quote-unquote weightlessness, anti-gravity, and they did that over 600 times.
That must really have a real toll on your body.
And they got like 4 good shots.
Yeah, I know.
They really did.
They
I
did.
mean,
There's
only a few great 0G shots, but they're great shots. Like
them passing things to each other.
yeah,
Or,
Paxton like taking pills or whatever he's doing, eating.
So the other times where they're just talking and swaying, they're just like
that's probably just them.
on a spring.
It seems like a lot of
Oh, on
them
a
just
teeter-totter.
like
They had like a giant teeter-totter, apparently, that would,
Cool.
yeah.
I don't know if there was no gravity in this room, would we all be facing each other in the same orientation, or would we all be like off at random angles? That's what I
Oh, yeah,
wonder.
we'd be constantly like...
Because there's a lot of shots of them like shoulder to shoulder, doing their business, whatever, working on the control panel for no reason.
There was one great
But
shot
I feel
that-
like I'd just be like virtually 69ing. So.
There's,
Well, I did
Well,
notice
there was a
them.
really cool
I did
shot
notice
where
them
they
like
were,
hanging on to
literally,
things.
like 90 degrees
Yeah.
to each other.
Yeah.
It was
but there's
really
also
funny.
Velcro on the floor that their
Right.
suits stick to.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
watched
yeah.
that one scene where he
Yeah,
steps down.
they zoom in on it. Well, I think that would be really cool, but also maybe very nauseating. So maybe Bill Paxton really was sick, and then they had to change the whole plot just to fix that.
Apparently that's not. It's the real Fredo, as he's referred to, did experience some flight sickness, but
Not
he
to that
says he
degree.
never threw up. He says he never threw up.
And he didn't get sick to that degree.
With the urinary tract infection, no, it wasn't that bad. But he did have a. He did hurt when he peed.
Yeah. I've had a UTI. It's terrible.
Speaking of peeing, I've realized something while watching this. Tom Hanks has a lot of pee scenes
Yes!
in his movies.
Yes! League of Their Own?
Yep.
League of Their
Long
Own,
pee.
Green Mile.
Green Mile, it's like part of the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's had to be more.
Urinary tract infection.
Yep.
What's your
Whatever.
guys' favorite Tom Hanks pee scene?
I mean, definitely League of Their Own.
League of Their Own is
So
great.
funny.
It's very memorable.
He
This
does-
one-
Go
this
League
is the
of
one
Their
where-
Own.
Didn't they eject the bag of urine immediately after he filled it?
Yeah. And
But what did he
unveiled the
call it?
Constellation Urine.
Urine.
So here's a question. That part where they all take off their biomed gear, is that just them being like, this is the one way that we can rebel against all your instructions that you're giving us and we're frustrated, or what?
I think it's also like, kind of like a little bit of macho-ness, like, hey, stop telling us that we're sick.
Well, it was also-
like, we're fucking, surviving up here. Don't, I don't want to know my blood pressure. I don't want to know
And
my,
Jim
kidney
does
levels.
it first, even though Fred's the one that's sick.
Yeah.
Jim does it kind of in protest of them monitoring, like,
Yeah.
you say he's sick,
like,
whatever.
we're all right.
We're here. We're gonna take care
Exactly.
of him, sick
We're
or
doing-
not.
Don't
like, we're-
bother us
Yeah.
with this stupid information that we can't do anything about anyway.
And
Right.
did that
So I
flight
think
surgeon...
Jim. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I don't...
I think Jim was just trying to give Fred peace of mind that, like, the fact that he's sick isn't going to be stressing every single person at Mission Control
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Right.
Great
Stressing
leader.
out the whole mission
Yeah.
is like, let's just deal with this like everybody's fine.
Exactly. We're
Go
all
ahead, Steve,
alive.
jump in.
That's all that matters.
Did the flight surgeon remind anyone of Dwight Schrute from The Office?
A little bit.
Who's the
Very
guy
Dwight Schrute-y.
with the dark glasses, the bald guy with the dark glasses?
Was that Clint
Clint-
Howard?
Clint
Clint
Howard?
Oh,
Clint
is
Howard?
that who that is? Yeah, I really like him.
It's Ron's brother.
Oh, of
He's
course.
very common in Ron Howard movies.
I was gonna say, am I wrong to say he's in
I-
almost every one of
I
them?
Yeah.
believe he is.
Yeah.
I think when he's
Yeah.
available, Ron tries to put him in his movies, yeah.
There was one shot where
He had a significant role in
there's
this
a
one, though.
really
Okay.
perfect reflection in his glasses of all that's on his screens and his coffee cup, and it's just beautiful.
And he's like rubbing his eye.
Yeah.
That's like a great
It's really-
it encapsulates the moment very well. There is a funny bit of trivia when Fredo admits he didn't pay his taxes, and then Clint Howard says, "That's true. They'll get you for that."
Jump on him.
That was ad-libbed, and it was like a self-own because Clint Howard was dealing with his own tax issues at the time.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
He's always been in his brother's shadow, basically.
Yeah.
I wonder.
He's great, though. I love Clint Howard.
He's great, and I think this is his best role. I think it's his most dramatic and most intense role.
So was the moon landing real?
I'm glad you asked.
Don't ask that to Buzz Aldrin. Or, yeah, I think it's Buzz Aldrin. He
Yeah,
punched a
he'll
guy in the
punch you
face.
Yeah.
It's on video.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I don't really want to talk about that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think the legend is that Stanley Kubrick faked it.
I was going to
Oh,
say that.
speaking
Yeah.
of Kubrick, I thought there was a great reference to Kubrick. That part where the tape deck is playing a song, but it's like
Slows
slowly
down.
dying and the battery's dying. It made me think of Hal.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I thought that was a
a
great little
homage.
moment.
Yeah.
I really
Nice.
appreciated
What was
that.
the song playing? I can't place it.
The first
I
one
don't
was
know if you
Spirit
could
in the
even-
Sky, but what was the?
It would make sense if it was Spirit in the Sky, just really slow.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past because it was very obscure.
Without a love of my, I don't know what the name of the song is, but it's like without a love of my own. That's how it goes out, or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to go back.
I forget
Yeah.
what that
Trivia.
song
Anyway, I thought that was a great little moment.
Wait. Blue Moon, was it?
Blue moon.
You saw me standing alone.
That would be.
That would also be
That would
appropriate.
fit. Yeah. Blue Moon.
is. Yes, yes.
Without a love of
Exactly.
my own.
That was the song. That was
Yeah. Blue
Nice.
Moon.
Oh,
That makes
nice.
sense.
I'll slow that down. And
I also really appreciated Blanche, Jim's mom.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
She's
She's
good in
great.
this. She's very funny. I mean, obviously, again, she's one of the 3 women with lines, so she doesn't say a lot, and she's pretty daft. Well, she's old, I guess.
well, she gets to be very dismissive of Buzz Aldrin
The
and
2 men
Yeah.
who have actually walked on the moon,
yeah, Lance Armstrong.
serving her tea. How cool is that?
In my opinion, she
So-
has one
I
of the
thought that
best
too.
lines in the movie. Like, gives me goosebumps every time I see it. Is when she's like talking to her grandkids, and she's like, "Are you scared? If they could get a washing machine to fly, my Jim could land it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the
It's
best
very
lines
sweet.
in the movie.
It's just like a mother's pure admiration and trust in their kid's
Confidence.
ability.
And she's
Yeah.
like kind of out of it, up until that moment.
Yep.
Yeah, she's like, it doesn't matter that he's in trouble.
Mhm.
He'll figure it out.
Oh, are you
With
boys in the space
100
program?
other people.
Yeah.
Also, Marilyn, I thought did a great job.
Absolutely.
Oh crap!
Hey, do you
What's
guys?
the actress's name? But she was nominated.
I would like
as well.
to plug. Kathleen Quinlan.
Kathleen Quinlan. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys follow this woman on Twitter. She's a comedian, actress. Her name's Natalie Walker, but she does these really funny audition tapes, and they're all just like riffing on roles like this. So she'll be like auditioning for the supportive wife who's at home while her husband does something heroic.
Yeah.
So it'll be like her watching the TV, and she just does this really amazing, dramatic.
I will say that
audition.
was a lot of what she did, but she did it so well.
It's very cliche. It was the 70s, so I guess there's that. But anyway, you should
Could
all
see
follow
that.
Natalie Walker on Twitter because she's hilarious.
Sounds funny.
Yeah, I love her.
I didn't really like her nightmare that she had. I kind of felt like that was out of place a little bit.
Oh, how she envisioned the
Yeah.
things going wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little tacked
I-
on.
And that eyeball, gross.
It's a super
Not a fan of close-up eyeballs.
Not a fan.
Yeah, it just felt weird to me. I felt like she did a really good job. You could tell she was constantly worried.
Yeah, I don't
but
think it was necessary.
Not necessary at all.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with her ring going down the drain. was
True
kinda-
story.
Yeah, that is a
Oh,
true
that
story.
just
True
was
story.
true.
She ended up
It's awesome.
recovering it, but that happened. Yeah.
I like that because
I see.
I was surprised that it didn't come back somehow, like she had to hire a plumber, like whatever. I was just surprised that it was only that one short scene because it does have the desired effect, obviously.
Yeah.
You you feel the stress, and you're like,
And
oh,
you
the
just feel
marriage
like-
is always it's in trouble already, and then like the symbology.
Yeah, the superstition of it all, just all these things
Yeah.
just start happening, just bad omens, like that would freak me out. Like if my partner was on a dangerous trip and I lost their wedding ring, that would be so like, oh,
You can't help but read into it.
exactly,
Like,
like
this is a problem.
this is a sign.
Back to the dreams, though. It's Lovell's dream. It's Jim's dream where we actually see him land on the moon, right?
He has that dream.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense that we see both of their perspectives, even if it seems like overkill that you see her
Yeah.
imagine
You're right.
what could go wrong
It
or
makes
dream.
sense, 'cause-
It kind of frames it to see both of their perspectives. Like all he ever imagined
All he
was
wanted
that
to
it
do
was
was
going to
walk
go
on the
right.
moon.
Like
All
he
wanted
knew,
to do, yeah.
he believed that it was going to go right the whole time. All he ever thought that was going to could happen was that he was going to land on the moon.
Yeah,
And like
even
this is
leading
kind of
up
the
to
worst
it.
case scenario. This is the worst thing that ever could have happened to him. But he never thought he was going to die. He was
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit! Now I can't walk on
That's-
the moon. I
yeah.
gotta go home." This
That's
is
a good
like
point.
it's the worst thing that he ever thought could happen in the
He
scenario.
says something like, "Well, we've lost the moon," something like that.
Which was
Yeah.
the name
Sad.
of
I think it's
the
kinda
book
beautiful.
they based the movie on
Lost
by
the
Jim
Moon.
Yes,
Lovell.
yeah.
Losing the Moon.
Yeah.
But they did lay it on real thick, the confidence going into it. You know, especially Tom Hanks is like, "Yep, I'm gonna walk on the moon. Yep, nothing wrong is gonna happen. I'm gonna just walk on the moon, come back. It's gonna be great."
I'll be back in a week, babe.
Yeah,
See you soon.
you know, like nothing can happen. Oh,
Well, I think if you're an astronaut, you got to.
you got to, yeah, you got
can't
to.
think something's going to go
That's-
wrong.
But you can be cautiously optimistic. He was just like, "Yep, gonna walk on the moon."
I feel like any moment of doubt, can't have it. You're an astronaut.
I think that's what did it.
Then he had that
I
moment.
mean, he never
Like
did.
Kevin Bacon
But
was
think about
doubting
it, like,
too much.
Throughout the entire movie, he never doubted that they were going to get home. Like the other two did. He never did. Like he kept them focused, and he said, "We're going to get home. Like no matter what we have to do,
You could
we
see
are
some
going to get
fear
there."
in his eyes.
Yeah, but he didn't. I don't think he let it play through. To them.
Especially when he stopped him and he's like, what are your intentions?"
That
Because
was a weird line, I thought.
it does come off as force, and a bit of trivia, like it wasn't. That's an actual line he said, but it wasn't in that necessary that specific context. The guys were taking pictures and like, "Oh, look at the moon," and he was just kind of like, "Hey guys, you know,
Let's focus up.
focus. Yeah, what
Yeah.
are your intentions? Take pictures or to survive?"
But from that moment on, he was confident they would get home.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, yeah, I think that's when he learned he had to. Like, he was the leader. They were going to follow him.
Yeah, he had them. He was like,
Like
they
especially,
were looking out the windows and everything, and they were like, kind of shocked that he wasn't looking as well. And he's like, "I've seen it."
Yeah. And
That's so
it's got
genius,
to
man.
just eat at him. It's got to be like, he was talking about how close he was before. You can just reach out and touch it. And now he's
Yeah.
got the exact same experience and knows not only is he not going to the moon, he might not even make it back to Earth.
I was surprised at how long it took them to decide they were not going to land on the moon.
I know. I
There's
feel
a-
like...
It was at one point they're like, "You can't do that. You can't land on
I
the moon
know.
without such and such." It's like half the
It's
ship
like, guys,
just exploded.
yeah.
I think that's out of the
Survival.
question.
People should
they
be-
didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, they didn't know how bad the
They
situation
didn't know
was.
what it was like. Like
That did
and
kinda feel
that's
like-
the mission. The mission is to land on the moon.
That is true.
That is what the ultimate goal. So until they find out they absolutely cannot go to the moon, that's the ultimate goal. Like even though shit's going crazy, they
Yeah.
still the ultimate goal is, hey, we got to fix this, and then we're going to still go to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
there's
must finish the mission.
there's a scene of them very late in the movie seeing the damage to the vessel. And I think that to your point that they didn't know exactly the extent of what happened. They just knew the situation that they were in. You know, the power. You know, in a way, they're taught to think about every single thing, but they're forced by the situation to think about just what's crucial and what's right in front of them.
God, the mental toughness it takes to do that.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I tried
Chuck
that.
Norris.
I would die.
Scotty, what was
Oh,
your,
yeah.
what was your
I would-
favorite
I would
part? I would probably die too.
I would die.
What was your favorite part? Would you say?
Well, I love the beginning when they first get into space and they're kind of like showing it off, showing how cool it is to be up there, like feeling on top of the world at that point.
Yeah, the broadcast that wasn't broadcasted. That was kind of sad.
But probably there's so many good parts. When they were like going through and like shutting everything down and like they were waiting for that 3-minute window and just
Oh, it's
the
so
tenseness
intense.
of everyone just waiting. Just imagine being there that day.
I
Like,
know.
we
'cause,
were-
like,
we were there
all know
24
what
minutes.
happens, and we were all still just. Well, at least I was. I was like, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna come back?
Especially, I don't know how long it actually took, but like the movie said going into like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just every second after that third minute.
Yeah,
you're
imagine
just,
being part of that family.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you have
exactly.
to be like just assuming the worst at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Also, one of those moments that I felt impacted was when they see the damage and they see that the oxygen is leaking, and that's that moment where you're like, there's a really good chance we're probably not going to make it.
Yeah, that was the big turn, for the worst.
Yeah, and that's when you see their reaction is going to be kind of superhuman.
Right.
Their training is to react in a way that no normal human would in the scenario that you're fucked.
Yeah. The panic that you'd have.
It's beautiful. I mean, that's what this is all about. These guys, they're heroes because they're
performing under
Stress.
unbelievable stress
Oh, my
and
God.
unbelievable pressure in a situation, so farther away than anything,
This is what they were trained for.
And what adds on to it is just the score of the movie.
yeah. Oh,
Very good music.
It's
Very
so
good.
impactful.
It's intense.
Who does the music? Do we know?
I didn't do any research for this one.
I'm
I'm gonna guess. I think it's a Michael Kamen.
It's really intense. I mean,
I was gonna say, I'm also curious on what other movies
and the
he
few
might
pop
have.
songs that are in it are perfect choices. Pop rock
Spirit in the
songs.
Sky. Yeah. What were the other ones?
No, I don't remember now. They were great.
Steve, what about you? What was your favorite part of the movie?
Oh, by far the ending of the movie. It might be my favorite ending to any movie of all time.
The ending, just
When
like
they-
the guy who was just describing the
yeah,
those
like
last
no,
4
yeah,
minutes.
it's like it's weird that he said that. Like those last 3 minutes and when they come out of radio silence. Like
Yeah.
if you guys were looking at my face, I had tears in my eyes every time I watch that movie.
see that,
It
Steve.
gets me every time, and it like just talking about it gives me goosebumps. Love that ending.
I remember being a little shocked, though, that after they got out of the vessel, they didn't give Fred immediate medical attention. They were still just kind of
He was
mosily
warm.
walking.
He got warm, so he was feeling better.
Yeah, they gotta warm him up first.
I'm sure they shot him full of antibiotics as soon as he got on that helicopter.
They wrapped.
Well,
him
they didn't
up.
know what he had either.
They wrapped him in foil right away.
Yeah. Like a runner, like a marathon runner.
You shouldn't have done this.
And Fred went back to space. They said.
Yep.
I don't think I would have, but I
No,
think that would be pretty traumatizing.
Fred did not go. He was on the list to go Apollo 18.
But they canceled it because of budget cuts. Yeah.
So Fred didn't go back.
It was
to
Oh, I
Ken
thought he
that
did.
Ken was able
Ken went
to,
back.
and
Oh,
he
that's
was
right.
the captain.
Yep.
What about Jack?
Right.
Did Jack go back?
No, it said that he,
No,
he
he
ran
became
for,
a-
Oh yeah,
for
and
public
died
office.
of cancer.
Before he got to
that's
serve in
too bad.
office, yeah.
He had the clap. That was the clap.
Well, my favorite part was the launch. The whole launch sequence was fucking phenomenal. I love it. I'd watch it over and over again. I just love seeing the whole thing, the countdown, the engines starting, the little condensation clouds that are coming out of the sides of the ship, and then it breaking free from the holds, and like, is it gonna make it? Everyone's watching. Is it gonna
It's
make
slow
it? Is it
motion
gonna make it?
practically.
Yeah, and then like them getting into space and hitting the boosters and getting jolted. Yeah, it's quite a jolt, I think they said. Yeah. That whole scene, I want that so much. I want to experience that so
Yeah.
much.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you mentioned that the special effects held up for Jim Lovell, because looking at them from my perspective, they almost don't. I mean, I can kind of pick out the CGI from
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not perfect,
But
it's believable.
it proves that it's in the eye of the beholder, because if you lived through, I mean, the things that he saw in the 60s and 70s in outer space, and he can't discern it from what he's seeing on film.
Exactly.
Like, my eye is more discerning towards CGI
We've been trained.
because that's all we see.
Yeah.
That's just amazing to think about. But it's a testament to this movie and why it's the kind of a big era. I mean, it's like the Jurassic Park era of CGI. Where
You're right, and it's a big undertaking, like the scale of it all. Another fact, when they're walking besides the big crawler carrying the ship, the rocket ship, that was like the real NASA crawler.
I was going to mention that scene because I love the scale and the
Just seeing
skeptical
them.
of just seeing it on
so
Earth.
small, and then the ship's so big. Yeah, that was really cool. And Ron Howard got to steer it, got to drive it.
Wow.
Lucky guy.
It's interesting because they only get a few shots of it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They must have only had like a couple hours. Like, all right, we'll take it down the track once. Can I drive? All right.
It's weird that someone has to drive it. It just goes straight.
Yeah.
Someone's got
Somebody's got to man that brake. Ignore that.
Houston, we have a problem.
Oh no, it was a glass.
Yeah.
It was a
Oh,
glass.
nice ones.
Oh.
Oh, well, there's our glitch for the episode,
Yep.
guys. We're good to go.
Yep.
Guys? Guys?
Still there?
I like that one.
Oh, Willa's sad now. R.I.P. to the glass.
We just bought it for ourselves for Christmas.
It will be missed.
The moment of silence.
You can glue it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the sets, the interior sets,
Yeah, everything.
quite a bit.
Everything looked really legit. Like,
I love that super 60s house with all the wood paneling.
another factoid about that.
Paul's is full.
Man.
There's so many. Doing research was like, whoa. They took pictures of Jim Lovell's actual house to recreate it as best they could.
Wow, that's
I love-
dedication and
I love
kind
that.
of unnecessary
It
dedication.
is, yeah. They're just like, screw it. We have pictures. Let's make it look.
Did he
like
have
the
those
real thing.
exact lawn chairs?
I do
Where
not
he
know.
like nuzzle his lady's boobies?
Did he get drunk and fool around on the lawn chair? I don't know.
Do you know if they filmed that at actual like old school Mission Control? Because I know that room still exists, like where they used to do it, and they had the old
I
computers.
didn't read
and
anything
stuff.
about it, so I'm
Okay.
guessing they did not.
Gotcha.
That probably would have shown up.
Okay.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to there. Go to Mission Control.
Heck yeah.
Press
Houston.
buttons.
The actual the landing module is on display in Smithsonian, I think, or in some museum. The one they actually plop down in the ocean in.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you have any stats for us there, Paulie?
Oh, you guys want to know some
Box office?
box office numbers?
Yeah, I was also
It's
wondering
box office
what
time.
other movies came out that year.
In 95?
Yeah.
Let's see. Did this movie win awards?
It won 2 Oscars.
Okay. It's Oscars night to night. None of
that's
us
true.
were not watching
as
it.
we're recording, it is, yes. It won for best sound. Totally, the sound was great. All the space sounds, the rocket sounds.
Yep.
That's got to be tough to like actually pull off and make it sound.
There's a movie called Apollo 11 coming out this year, apparently.
That's weird.
They just made First Man.
Yeah, First
Yeah, I
Man
know.
is
It's one of
basically
those,
the
like,
story of Apollo
weird.
11.
Armageddon, Deep Impact situations.
Prestige and what's the other one?
The Illusionist.
Or
Illusionist.
Tombstone and Wyatt Earp.
The Illusionist sucks.
It's awful.
Prestige, awesome.
Great.
Prestige
Great
is
movie.
awesome. This also won the Oscar for best editing.
Was it up for
Good
best?
editing.
Do you know if it was up for best picture?
It was.
It was?
It was nominated for best picture.
It's weird that you say best editing because there's something that I found out about just like Apollo, like the spacecraft. So there's a part during the launch where he shoots off the tower jet. So the tower jet. So right after that, they have that engine 5 go out, and he's looking at the abort handle. So without that tower jet, they cannot abort. Because the tower jet pulls whatever they're attached to off of the rocket, and then it would fall to Earth.
Oh, so he wouldn't even have that.
Exactly. He doesn't even have the option to abort at that point.
This movie sucks then.
Without the tower jet.
Hey guys, listen to the first review I found. It's from 2001. Forget Armageddon and the laughable Pitch Black. Never mind Lost in Space and Mission to Mars. Even the great Men in Black is dismissible here. This is a space movie. What a
Nice.
random collection of movies to compare. They
Pitch
all have
Black?
a little bit to do with space.
A lot of it
Well,
to do
Pitch
with
Black.
fiction.
They're all fictional.
Forget about these science fiction movies.
That's funny you say that because
So
there's
funny.
a funny story I ran across was when they were screening this movie to we got preview audiences, test audiences. One of the comments they got was, "No way, too unbelievable. This would never happen. They'd all die."
Wow.
Another Hollywood flub. They don't know space.
They paid
Historical
people to say
spoilers,
that about this
people.
movie.
It's really funny. Anyway, forget about Pitch Black.
Men in
I
Black.
know, Men in Black was the one
Pitch
that really
Black
stood
and
out.
Men in Black.
Lost in Space.
This isn't an alien movie.
I'm glad.
Lost in space.
I'm glad that we actually have movies
No.
Oh, okay.
that we
Yeah,
can
never mind.
fairly compare to this movie. Like we said, Gravity, The Martian. I'm
Martian,
glad that
yeah.
it's actually a genre of believable movies that maybe you're confused whether this happened in reality or not. Like you made you made a joke about it earlier, but The Martian is so realistic that if you didn't pay attention to what NASA was doing,
Yeah.
or you're like,
Dude, are we on Mars?
maybe going to Mars isn't that big a deal. Maybe they did it already.
I'll tell you some of the other movies that came out in '95. Clueless.
Future episode.
No, but some of the other dramas that came out that would have kind of maybe competed with Apollo 13 include Braveheart, Nixon, which I never saw, The Usual Suspects, Seven, Heat, 12 Monkeys, all came out in the same year.
Love 12 Monkeys.
So big year for
Also
dramas and thrillers.
I think you could argue this is the biggest, though. I mean,
It was
it's a
ranked
big
13th.
fucking deal.
Yeah.
That one, Apollo 13 is ranked 13th. I don't know if that's just to be cheeky.
Who were the other Oscar contenders that year?
It was nominated for Best Picture?
It was nominated for Best Picture. I don't know if I can see.
Oscar nominees. You're gonna cut this out, babe.
Oh, yeah.
Nominees, 19.
I'm curious about whether this got a visual effects award.
Not an Oscar. Well, no. It was nominated. Best Effects, Best Visual Effects.
So you'd actually be looking at 96, right? Because that's
Yeah.
when it would take place.
So
Nominated Best Music.
Because Forrest Gump was nominated the year before.
James Horner, by the way, did the composing of the score.
Braveheart got the most awards that year.
Oh, Braveheart, of course. They won all the awards.
Well, hopefully they get him back for the
Other
sequel.
winners included Apollo 13 won some, Pocahontas, Usual Suspects, Babe. Good year for kids movies.
Oh, you're naming pictures, not Oscar contenders, right?
No, that was just other things that won awards
I was like,
that year.
whoa.
No, I'm sorry. I'm all over the map here.
Well, if we want to do some box office, I'll
Yeah,
tell
let's.
you that this movie had a budget of $52 million.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's nothing to sneeze at.
sounds reasonable for the effect.
Yeah, so opening weekend, what do we think this movie pulled in?
30 million.
Willa says 30. Steve,
I feel like everyone went to see it right away. But I don't know.
remember this is Price is Right rules. Closest without going over.
Go 45.
Abraham
20.
and Scotty.
I was actually going to go 26.
You mean
This is going to
21.
get-
You've never played Prices Right.
Interesting.
20 and $1 for Scott.
Wait, what did you say, Scotty?
26.
Scotty. You were so close, but we're playing by Price is Right rules, so Abe wins.
I told you
The
you should have been
opening
20 and
weekend-
$1. That's how
you
the
should've-
Price is
you
Right
should've.
works.
It was 25,353,000. You were so close, but you
It's
went
okay.
over.
Man.
That's okay. Next time you're on. I mean, you're definitely a future guest.
Exactly. You had it nailed in. You had it dialed in.
0 for 1.
Okay, so the other nominees for Best Picture that year were Braveheart, which won it, Apollo 13, Babe, Il Postino, and Sense and Sensibility. So, I don't know.
That's
if
a pretty strong field.
Sure.
Babe.
I mean,
Yeah, Babe still shocks me.
Babe Pig in the City is better. I'm not joking. You guys know this about the Babe. George Miller.
What do we know about the Babe? Please, like, tell us more.
George Miller, director of Mad Max. And
Oh,
more
that's
importantly
right.
to
Yeah.
this generation, Mad
Yeah,
Max
you're right.
Fury Road, made Babe 2 Pig in the City.
I had no idea.
It's a great movie.
I don't.
He also made Happy
All
Feet.
about that. You made Happy Feet?
Never seen it.
It's about penguins.
I know what it's about.
Well,
Weirdly enough, I bought a movie.
just saying they're great
and
films.
I was
Great
typing in
filmmaker.
The digital copy that it comes with, and it gave me that movie and Happy Feet.
What was the
Don't know
movie
why.
that you got?
Game Night.
Oh, that movie was really
That's
funny.
a really good movie.
Yeah.
But that's a weird combination
Isn't
that
it?
gave you.
Like, I'm assuming it's like kind of like a joke or something. It's like, hey, we're putting this in. Hey, you're getting Happy Feet. There you go.
Huh.
Just they both went in with that code. It's weird.
I thought Game Night
I've
was
yet to watch Happy
hilarious.
Feet.
I think we talked about it on a previous episode, but I really liked that movie. Cool. Well,
Final thoughts?
should we talk about characters?
Oh, yeah.
This will be our final question. What character would you say you related to the most in the film?
Probably Ken, because I didn't go to space.
And you don't have the measles.
Yeah, I don't have the measles either. But no, I would have, definitely rather have been that guy. I would, help them out from home, but I know that obviously you really wanted to be there. But so I would have to
You
say,
I
experienced
think
a
he
lot
was
of FOMO?
relieved a little bit when he found out, oh, they're in trouble. They might not make it back. Glad I didn't go.
I think the only way he was relieved is in the fact that he could be useful
Yeah.
to the mission.
Yeah.
yeah,
Little factoid about that. Once Tom Hanks signed on, they offered Gary Sinise his choice of the other roles.
Oh, wow.
And he chose Ken because, in his own words, he said, without that guy, they don't make it home.
Cool. He's
Yeah,
a
he is the
reality.
secondary protagonist, I think.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So it's good proof.
Like it.
Yeah.
Well, and he's a great foil to Tom Hanks, as had been proved in Forrest Gump.
I was
They're
gonna
such
say
a
that.
good duo.
There's such a
Your
good duo.
Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan!
And
Ice cream!
it's kinda
Lieutenant
funny.
Dan! Ice cream! Sorry.
in Forrest Gump, they have a little back and forth about being about Forrest Gump talking about being captain of a shrimp boat, and he
Yeah.
said, "You'll be captain of a shrimp boat when I'm an astronaut."
That's funny.
Yeah.
I love that.
Steve?
I mean, it's just I love this movie. So I mean, characters.
yeah.
Oh, we're doing characters.
Yeah.
Who do you relate to
yeah.
the most?
I mean, relate. Probably Swaggart for me.
Because you have the clap.
Yes, because yeah, that's why. No,
And you're such a...
I don't know.
You're the
it's
first
just-
bachelor astronaut.
Because you're taking Charlie's place today in the podcast.
Yes, that's why. Yeah, because I am the replacement. That is exactly why I feel that way. But no, I mean, he just gets doubted a lot in the movie, and he just ends up proving himself. And I don't know. I feel like I've done that in my life a time or two. So
For me, actually, it's I'm gonna go with Fred.
I can see
I
that.
could definitely see
A
that.
lot
Sandy
of-
said it.
I think, he had some choice comments, some good one-liners when they were on the ship. Mostly, I think it's because it's Bill Paxton, and this is definitely his peak outside of like the James Cameron run. And Twister is a great. I mean, it's a great
Love
movie. I
Twister.
love
Great
Twister,
movie.
but I don't think it really got its due for like a action movie. He never got his due as a leading man, but this is
Yeah.
like his big moment, I think, as an actor.
Yeah.
This is a serious Oscar movie, and he didn't get nominated, but this is him
And his
standing
character,
toe to
you know,
toe.
His character had some work. Yeah, you know, it wasn't just an easy role. They could have gone with bigger names. I'm struggling to remember because I looked this up. John Travolta was offered a role in this.
That
it
would have
wouldn't
been
have
so
been the same.
distracting.
No,
Wouldn't have been the
yeah.
same.
No, a few other like big names turned down those roles. And
I guess that's what I mean. Is like he's there with Kevin Bacon and Tom Hanks. Who are
exactly,
like,
and he holds up. He holds his
A-list
own.
stars.
He holds his own. Just he fits in just as
I think
natural as anybody.
Him and Gary Sinise are more like on the same level of like great character
Underrated,
actors.
yeah.
But they
Never
just inhabit
the big
these
leading
guys. Like you
yeah.
can believe them as these.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to pick
Brilliant
Fredo
guys.
as well as my character because he is a ham and he's like, but also I've been known to go to work quite sick and still like insist on working. So that's bad habit to be in. But I was going to pick him for the same reason, just because he's such a ham and he's so goofy. And I was voted class clown in high school. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Me too.
Whoa, a couple
I
of clowns.
missed the picture day though, so they didn't actually put me in the yearbook as that.
What a clown you
They
are.
stripped me of my title.
Oh.
If only I'd gone to school sick.
Oh, well, how ironic.
How
Is that
ironic.
why you now
I
always
will never
show
miss
up?
a day.
You don't know. It could be the day they're picking the
The
class
awards.
clown. I have to go with, it may seem unlikely.
Blanche.
No. Ed Harris's character. I can't think of his name now.
Okay.
Gary? Yes.
I didn't write it down. I put
Glenn
Ed Harris
Gary,
question
Glenn
mark
Ross.
on the
Glenn Ross.
name.
No, like when I'm around you guys, I'm pretty chill. But when I'm like in work mode, I'm a lot more serious, a lot more, pragmatic and
So if someone's like,
task oriented.
I'll go ask how long before this is done. You're like, I don't want to know how long before it's
just
done.
get it done.
Get it done
Do
now.
You do that. All right, we're gonna take care of this. Everyone, relax. We got this.
Nice. So
And
good
he was just
leader.
so badass. He was just so awesome.
It was Gene something.
You know what's
Gene.
funny, I really didn't
yeah.
even register him other than his hair color. That you guys all really noticed Ed Harris. I was like, man, more white guys. Jesus. And he's wearing all white.
Well, you said how young he looked.
I noticed how
immediately.
young he looked.
It's because he's totally bald.
Yeah.
It's not because
that's
he is
wig.
a man with white hair. It's because he's never had hair since he was a grown man.
Yeah. Oh, and
So
his
it's
mission
kind of
control
unique.
thing comes back in the Truman Show, where he's on
Oh,
the microphone.
I
the
definitely
whole
thought of
time.
that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
He has like a
Not a great
beret
movie.
or something in that.
Yeah, he's
Like
totally bald in that.
It's like a Kangol hat, like turned
Yeah,
backwards.
exactly. Oh, okay. So, shall we move on to
Final thoughts? I think if anybody needs to get in last minute,
anything?
what do you
else
think
to
about
add?
this flick?
I think it's great. I think it holds up. I want to see more space movies. I still want to watch First Man
Yeah.
and Hidden Figures. So that's my homework.
It also makes me want to watch some more space movies too,
Right?
or
Yeah.
revisit the ones I've already seen.
I kind of want to rewatch The Right Stuff. Have you guys seen that? It's
I don't
really
think
good.
I've
If you
heard of it,
haven't,
actually.
it's really long. It's over 3 hours long.
I want to go back to it too.
But it's really good.
So, well, this has always been one of my favorite movies, pretty much of all. It's probably in my top 5, honestly.
Wow.
Apollo 13.
Wow.
Love this movie. Like I said, the
It is
ending
great.
of this
The ending-
movie is far and away the best ending.
I said
Best
it.
feel-good
Just
ending.
so victorious.
I
Just
said
so
it
good.
outside with Scotty that I didn't tear up, but I definitely got goosebumps when they re-entered with the parachutes opening, and it's like, yay!
Seeing that little kid in school with his classmates, for some reason, that in particular made me feel like
I feel
oh!
like, hey,
Got me
maybe
going.
take him out of class.
I know. I was like, why? You can't send him
I was a
home.
little surprised by that as well.
Maybe not have him watch possibly his dad dying in a classroom.
yeah, with all of his peers.
classmates.
Cool. Cool. Great movie.
Good movie.
So what else have y'all
Everyone
been
liked
watching?
it. Yeah. You guys have any recommendations? What we can watch? What we can listen to? What you've been
Well,
watching?
First things first, if you want to learn more about the space program, This is
Go to your local library.
Well, you could probably get this at your local library, I would assume. It's not a movie. It was a series that they played on HBO back in the day called From the Earth to the Moon. It's all about the Apollo program.
I remember that. Is that still on HBO?
I'm pretty sure it's on demand, yeah.
This is produced by Tom
Hanks.
And
He's a
yes,
big.
exactly.
Tom Hanks is a big. Like
Yes.
that was one of the reasons Ron Howard approached Tom Hanks, because he knew he was a big fan of the space program, especially the Apollo missions. And another thing, I keep throwing out these factoids. Marilyn Lovell said that Tom Hanks nailed his portrayal of Jim.
yeah.
He like his mannerisms, his speaking, like the way he talked and stuff like that.
He must have
said
been a lot like
nailed
Tom
it.
Hanks.
Because it was very Tom Hanks. I kind of looked at it and was like, really?
And I think maybe that's true. It's just the perfect
Maybe,
fit.
yeah.
And then sometimes
Just a
you
Tom
see
Hanks kind of guy. What else have you guys been watching or listening to or reading?
We did watch Russian Doll. We
I've
watched
heard
it.
very good things.
We watched it
Good.
like
3 episodes
on a
deep.
cold day, and
I finished
it was like too cold to leave the house, and we just watched it all in one day.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
was
I
pretty
couldn't
good.
stop. It was super intriguing. Each episode, you just are like, well, gotta watch the next one, gotta watch the next one, and it gets weird, and I like things that get weird. And then the other thing that we've been watching that I am convinced is probably the weirdest show on television, and I'm a little behind, but we just finished season 2 of Legion, and it's so good. It's like freaking weird, and the visuals are just unbelievable, and the acting is great, and I love it.
Nice. What do you
I,
watch that on?
It's on Hulu,
Okay.
so there are some commercials, so we don't pay the extra
Oh, that's
extra.
all right, yeah.
But it's but they play it on FX. It's an FX show, but it's just, I think, one of the weirdest shows ever. Like, I feel like you could watch them completely out of order and it would just make just as much sense as it does. Like, half the time, I would say I don't really know what's happening on the show, but it doesn't matter because it's just so weird
So cool.
and cool to watch.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? So, because you never really know what's real. So much of it happens inside,
Ooh,
like, dreamscapes
yeah.
or just, like, so-and-so, like, taking over another person's brain. And it's just, and different timelines, and it's just so bizarre. It's a X-Men spin-off, if you don't know the storyline. And
I
anyway,
don't.
this weekend, Abe and I were having to buy a bunch of, like, grown-up things. Like, we're, doing some remodeling, and, like, we were at the mall, like, oh, we need sheets, we need stupid, boring things. We were like, what can we buy that would be not a grown-up item? So we went and dug through the comic book store and found some Legion comics.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool. That was actually, I think, the first comics I've ever purchased for myself. So I'm pretty excited about him. Haven't cracked them open yet, but
I have a pretty good eye.
yeah, he did some digging because they were certainly not labeled well. You had to really dig through the $1.99 bin to find some. So thanks, babe.
Yeah. I didn't know that X-Men Legacy was even a run of comic books, but I found it.
Yep. So, how about you, Steve? What have you been watching?
Well, I just started watching The Umbrella Academy the other day. I think it's pretty good. I'll probably continue to watch it. I also
What's that? It's like superhero-ish?
Yeah. It's based off of a comic book. Actually, the lead singer of My Chemical Romance wrote it.
Okay.
apparently. I mean,
Drive
I'm not
away.
using that as like a plug to him, but it's pretty good. Like, it's quality.
Cool.
And I'm surprised like the CGI in the show is really good. There's a lot of it. I also watched You recently on
Me?
Netflix. No, not You, Paul. It's actually called You.
Oh, like a sheep.
No.
Lanolin?
Lanolin? Lanolin?
Well, anyway,
Good Wool
Like
Hunting?
sheep's wool, good wool hunting. Nice callback, Willa.
Across the nation.
Sorry, Steve. Go ahead. Yeah,
You guys
you.
are terrible. That's
I actually caught part of this. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's if you're a Dexter fan, you'd probably like this show. Honestly. And then I've also like podcast wise, there's a group of podcasts that's called Parcast. It's a company that
Parkour.
Yeah, there you go. But they do a bunch of like true crime, conspiracy theories, and other stuff like that type stuff. That's what I listen to on my drive to work.
Parcast.
Parcast.
P-A-R-K.
Parcast.
Okay.
Why is that called that?
I don't know. It's
What does
just
that have to
that's
do with
Is
true
it
crime?
golf
That's like it's
related?
Like, no,
Yeah.
that's like it's a parent company that makes all different types of podcasts.
Oh, I
Like
see.
there's a whole bunch. Like there's a conspiracy theories one. There's an extraterrestrials one. There's a serial killers one. There's female killers one. Unsolved crimes.
I think they need a movie one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Write them.
If they're listening.
Yeah, there you go.
Formats already.
Hashtag Parcast. Hire us.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Cool.
Nice.
Under the recommendation of our guest Scotty here, just recently got into Brockmire,
Nice.
the Hank Azaria show on IFC about I'd say a troubled baseball announcer who
Oh yeah, we watched some of that.
I love it.
It's so good.
has
love
fallen.
Hank Azaria.
Yeah, it's
Everyone
great.
should watch Brockmire.
Yeah, he's he plays a baseball announcer who's fallen from grace and is now announcing for a very bad minor league team. It really reminds me of like this area. It takes place in Pennsylvania, but it gives me like
Could be the Elmira
could be.
Pioneers.
It could be the Pios. Seriously, their stadium looks exactly the same. But Hank Azaria's great in it. Amanda Peet. Remember Amanda Peet?
Yeah.
She's in it, and she's hilarious
don't
and
remember.
still looks great.
I don't remember.
You don't remember
No, I
Amanda
don't. Just
Peet?
kidding.
Yes. Everyone remembers Amanda
I
Peet.
saw a whole
Everyone
9 yards.
remembers.
Yeah. But
Sometimes
yeah,
I get her
it's
mixed
great.
up with Lake Bell for some reason.
I can see that.
I can see it for sure.
I really like both of them. So then I was like, I love her. She's the one from that. And he was like, no, wrong
That's
person.
the other one.
Yeah, I mean, they're different people.
They're very cool.
They're
of them are
completely different people. It's
They're both
crazy.
great.
So yeah, watch that. I've been listening to the Doughboys podcast. If you haven't heard it, it's really good. What they do is it's Nick Weiger and Mike Mitchell. They do chain restaurants. They take a guest and take them to a specific chain restaurant, and they evaluate the food. And it's really funny. The last one I listened to was about Little Caesars.
I wonder if they have a suggestion of what frozen pizzas we should be eating.
I think we should find out. Also, I want to say, I'm going to get a little somber here. As we're recording, yesterday, the comedy world lost a really good comedian. His name's Stephen Brody Stevens. I really like this guy because, one, he's a big baseball guy. He played baseball in college, loves the Cubs, loves baseball. He was all about positivity and fighting through mental strife, and unfortunately, he lost that battle. And yeah, the comedy world is now missing a great, great soul. Stephen Brody Stevens, look him up. He had a show on Comedy Central for a little bit called "Enjoy It." That's how he sounds. And if you ever hear me, like sometimes I'll steal some of Brody's catchphrases, like "You got it." He was just full of positive energy and just great. Look him up. Look up YouTube videos of Stephen Brody Stevens. It'll make you feel good, and we will miss him.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, now people hear it, they'll know you're keeping him alive.
Exactly. I want to. He deserves to be remembered.
I'm currently
Plug
watching a whole bunch of different things. First off, Sex Education.
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah. I guess I should say I'm slowly working my way into numerous different series. I haven't completely binged the entire thing, but yes, Sex Education.
Probably healthy.
Sick Note is another real good one. Has Ron Weasley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that keep popping up. I've been
Yeah.
intrigued because I'm a
Don
big Harry
Johnson
Potter
plays
fan.
such a good douche boss.
I could see that.
Yeah, real good. Also,
I believe Scott Ackerman of Comedy Bang Bang has a writing credit on that show.
Is it like
Really?
Yeah.
Is it a workplace kind of comedy? You
No.
mentioned his boss.
no, just some of the set is based inside of the office.
Okay.
There's a lot of happenings that go on the outside. But also, I just caught up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes.
Wicca.
I might say that I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine more than,
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
Whoa! Good thing Charlie's not here. Good thing Charlie's not here.
The chemistry that those actors have together, like you can feel like they're all buddy, like on set and off.
That's true. Yeah, when you watch those episodes, you don't generally get a sense of, you know.
I can definitely use more Terry Crews in my life. Really.
Oh,
any
yeah.
moment. I love him.
I love Terry Crews. Like, follow him on Twitter because, like, he is great about positivity.
Hey, what are you watching?
Well, besides Star Talk,
I already talked about Legion and Russian Doll.
I've been watching a lot of Parks and Rec.
Whoa, is Charlie here? Did Charlie just come back?
I wasn't going to admit it to them.
You guys were watching it as we showed up.
I was in a hotel watching Showtime because I travel for work. You know, I find myself at the mercy of whatever cable channel I'm watching. I watch Midnight Run.
Oh! That movie is awesome!
Yes.
Charles Grodin and Robert De Niro.
Yes.
Oh my god, that movie's great. We need to intervene someone on that movie. Everyone.
I
You guys
intervened
seen it?
myself, honestly. And I didn't even realize that it was like a late 80s movie, that it's one that I probably could have watched when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
I remember watching it young and not getting a lot. It was a lot of vulgarity. They cuss a lot in it. But then I watched it again later and was like, this movie is so awesome.
It's like a hard PG, yeah. It's nothing that you would worry about your kids seeing, but they might not appreciate it.
Yeah. It's adult. Like, you know.
But I just love it for the era. It was the most action I've ever seen Robert De Niro do in any movie. Like, he's literally hanging off the side of, like, a freight train. And you... I mean, normally he's got a gun, maybe.
I also like that Charles Grodin was, like, the bad guy. Like, supposed to be, like, the, you know, the criminal, you know?
He is... Charles Grodin is a great straight man, normally. Normally he's a great straight man, but in this he's a great, like... He plays the kind of goofier character to...
Yeah, to Robert De Niro's straight guy.
But he's also supposed to be the bad guy.
Yeah, he's the guy who's...
So it's a really funny dynamic.
Well, good episode. Thanks, Steve and Scott, for being here. What a treat.
Hope to be on again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come
it was
back,
really
Scott.
fun.
You were a great guest. Steve,
Thanks for
good to see you. No, Steve, you were great. You were great.
Thanks for listening. This has
Thanks for
been
listening.
Pop Culture Intervention. Remember to subscribe
Like and
on your
subscribe.
favorite podcast subscription service. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram at PCI Podcast. You can please send us a fan email, PCIpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your questions and your comments. And we might even read them on the air.
I haven't given out my Twitter handle in a while, so if you want to follow me, you can find me at EnemaBagJones_. That's at EnemaBagJones_.
And I'm at Real Willa Rose on Twitter. Yup. Anyone else want to plug their
I have
social
a Twitter,
medias?
but you won't see anything there. It's at Stevie B Swing. All one word.
Stevie B Swing.
Stevie B Swing.
Scotty, anything you want to plug?
I actually am not good with technology, and I have a Twitter, but I have no idea how to use it.
I'm kind of the same way.
I've never posted once, or tweeted once, I should say.
I'll be happy to give you guys a listen. It's literally my profession.
Twitter intervention.
Twittervention.
Twittervention.